the segment of the day, right? This segment is going to be fun. Who likes having fun? We know our Jesus loves to have a good time. So, and we are all about, get up there, guys. So we've decided we're going to pick on some people and get them in the hot seat. And so you might be one of those people at some stage. We'll give you a little bit of warning, don't worry. And so this is a real cool opportunity for us just to get to know today Pete and Michelle. And we're going to hear a little bit of their story. We're going to ask them some questions. Some of them might be quite hard. Some of them might be quite fun. We don't know. But we just thought this was going to be an awesome thing to do. And we want to get to know you and our family. We would love to honour you guys as well and have you all in the hot seat at some stage. And so some of you, that's really scary. We're not going to beat you up and throw you in there and put you in a cage. But that's some... So let's have a round of applause for these guys, eh?
So I was supposed to be speaking this week, so you see how I got out of that really well? Yeah. I was like, yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thanks. So I am actually super excited about this because these two are, if you've had a chance to meet them, they're absolutely incredible people, amazing people. And I just thought this was, actually we were talking with Al earlier in the week and he was like, oh, you could do like panels or interview style. And we were like, what a great idea. Like, we are still getting to kind of know each other as a crew, right? And this is a beautiful way to do that. And it doesn't have to be like, obviously, Michelle and Peter in leadership, but it doesn't have to be someone that's in leadership. There's so many people that come to this church that have incredible stories. And sometimes it's quite scary to share your testimony, like, just as one, like, as a whole, but it's quite nice if somebody asks you questions and you can kind of do it that way, like, and help in that sense, if that makes sense. So we're super excited. I'm quite excited to be interviewing these two. I've actually felt, the joy of the Lord on it. I was at the start of the week, I was actually starting to feel quite like a heaviness come in. And I was like, man, Lord, am I supposed to be just speaking or bringing a message? Or what's going on? What is this? And as I literally had like a snippet of time with the Lord this week. It's been crazy. And this is just reality, right, sometimes. And I was sitting with Sienna. I just sat out on the deck and I just closed my eyes and was like, Lord, you need to show me if something needs to be different. And so we're just taking you on this journey. And I sat there and I just saw this picture of these two sitting up here and just different ones coming in and just having fun and getting to know people. So I was like, okay, Lord, this is what's on your heart right now. So we're looking at doing this in the new year, next year. We're hoping to do it once a month where we just, like, somebody gets in the hot seat, right? And we'll have different people, a leadership maybe interviewing, and we're just excited for it, but we couldn't wait. So I felt like God was like, no, let's just go. Like, there was such a joy that came up about it. So I put they're literally on the hot seat like a few days ago, saying, can you do this? So I have sent them a couple of questions that we were looking at answering, but a lot of these, they don't know what I'm going to ask, okay? So we'll just be gentle. And this is like, for some personalities, I said, if that was me, I'd be dying quietly. I would, on the stage. So are you ready to die quietly? No, it's good. All right, my first question for you guys. And at the end, if you have another little question or you want to add on, we'll open up a little bit for that. So, if you had to sing one song at karaoke for the rest of your life, what would it be? Come on, Pete. You're like... Sing it for us. Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that one. Maybe Bon Jovi's It's My Life.
Ooh, taste going on. Thank you.
Mind blank.
You've got so many options.
I don't.
Pete's secretly a shredder, eh?
Maybe Oasis Wonderwall just because it's easy.
Oh, whoa, look at those two differences.
Maybe some Elvis.
So maybe some Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, come on. Oh, love it. All right. Why did you guys move to Nelson?
It's a good question.
Still wondering?
No, I don't think so. Okay. We lived in Whangamata in the Coromandel Peninsula, and we had actually had quite a comfortable life there. Yeah, I had got established sort of a business and things were pretty good. But yeah, we both felt like there was something more, and we felt like God wanted us to move. And I know Michelle had always had Nelson on her heart. I hadn't so much, but we holidayed here a couple of times. And we are not quick decision makers, and we were pretty dense over the whole thing, to be honest. Yeah. So God had to really prompt us about actually making the move.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, you can tell the story.
Okay. Yeah, so we'd come down here and holidayed, and then Pete and I came back without the kids just for a wedding anniversary, and we actually looked at a property. And it was interesting because I didn't think Pete would want to, because he does real estate for a living, so why on earth would he want to look at property when we're having a weekend away? But he said, look, if you want to do it, you ring the agent, you sort it out. So we tagged on to the end of some viewings and then talked about it after. I said, what do you think? And he was actually quite keen. He really liked it. And I thought, oh, this is unusual. Okay, there might be something going on here. And we put an offer in, and we had a set price and everything. And coming home on the plane, Pete had even said, oh, do you think we should up it a little bit? Because we knew we were going to be in a multiple offer. And I said, no, that's the price I feel that we need to do. And anyway, we won the multiple offer. And so we had a house here. Still not sure if we wanted to move here. But we thought, well, it could be a long-term investment or whatever. So we had tenants in it. And then we were between tenants, and so we came down in the middle of winter thinking, yeah, can we actually handle the cold? It's a little bit different to being in the North Island. So we got to suss it out in winter, but yeah, we had a really, really good week here. And Pete had got gastro, so he spent a couple of days in bed.
I got to know our bathroom really well.
Yeah. Me and the kids had a great time. But we'd come to Aspire then actually, and we just felt like there was some stuff going on, and I think Alistair was preaching on something that kind of tied in with where we were at. But still we're thinking, okay, God, is that really you? Da-da-da-da-da. And then just really prayed that God really needs something solid from you. And I kid you not, but we ended up with a thumbs up cloud in the sky, and it stayed there for hours. You know how clouds normally change shape and move? It was in the same spot, the same shape for hours. I thought, okay, Lord. Yeah, it was. It was like, you've never seen that before. But, okay, Lord. Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. And even still, we went back, and then we were just parked at the beach thinking, do we really want to leave this? This is just beautiful where we are. And there was a lady, an intercessory prayer in our church just across. The next thing is Pete's out of the car running over to her. And then he comes back and said, what'd you say? He said, oh, I just asked her to pray about it. And within, I don't know, a few hours, she came back with an email, very clear, go to the land I've promised you, da-da-da-da-da. And so we thought, okay. And she gave it to us, not really wanting us to leave either. Yeah. I don't know, it was good.
She really didn't like us.
Yeah, get out of here. So that's how we ended up here, and it was more, we wanted more opportunities for our kids, and we wanted some Christian youth for them to hang out with, because there were none in our town. And yeah, so they ended up being planted in with Thrive out at Richmond, and they've loved it. Yeah. And Emily's in leadership there this year, and it's been going really well, so it's cool.
So you can say, like, as a whole, basically you coming to the South Island was definitely Holy Spirit led.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's a massive thing for a lot of us, right, is to actually do, like, pack up, move to another place in the country or overseas or somewhere, wherever, but it's all on whatever the Holy Spirit has said. And we don't necessarily know what we're about to walk into. Like, that's pretty amazing. All right. I have another question. Got lots of questions. How did you guys meet? We want to know a bit of the juicy love story.
You can answer this one.
We met, there was a play on? Okay, yeah, sorry.
We need
Very
two mics.
similar timing.
Can we have two? Can you do two mics? And they could both just banter over each other.
Okay,
and,
I was a
as a marriage,
I was a youth leader at Whangamata Baptist at the time, and we went to this, both Michelle was involved in youth too, and we went to this Keswick Park at Rotorua, which is Baptist Youth Leaders, like a convention type thing. Horrible cold place, but it was a real good weekend. And anyway, Michelle had sort of caught my eye with her nice red jumper on. And and we ended up doing this real dumb icebreaker thing together that you did at youth things sometimes. And yeah, and we just ended up asking each other a few questions, and that was pretty much the first time that we met. But after that meeting, I kind of thought, oh, she's quite nice, but I was just sort of parked that thought. I was a solo dad at the time.
Yeah.
And then I ended up I was an alternate for a play they did, the Combined Churches in Waihi, which is up the road from Whangamata. And I was an alternate, so I was not going to be in the play, but I was like a backup person. And anyway, the guy dropped out who was playing the lead, so I was it. So it was like a musical thing about a revival in Waihi
Cool.
at the turn of the century. Anyway, long story short, Michelle came, and I noticed her in the row, a couple of rows there, but she was with this dude, quite of a sharply dressed guy, and I don't like the look of him, but Anyway, and then she came the next night too, but she knew some of our friends who were musos in the band and stuff. And I kind of went and mooched around to see if I could get a bit of intel. Sounds a bit stalkery, but but then someone said, oh, what's that guy's name? And then they said, oh, that's Rick, that's Michelle's brother. I'm like, yeah.
I'm in.
There's a chance. So that was our other sort of meeting. Yeah.
First come last, last come first.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, so it was quite funny. My brother was pretty suave.
Is that on? Can you keep talking? So just keep going on that one.
He was pretty suave and well dressed, and so he used to be nicknamed by our mates Mr. Armani. That's how. And so Pete just thought, oh man, I'm never going to be able to compete with that dude. So
I think I was wearing like a purple jumper and had a mullet at the time. So
You were acing it. She definitely caught your eye.
So the thing too, back to when we first met at the Baptist Youth Convention, is the icebreaker was actually, they gave out a pack of cards and you had to find your peer, and Pete was my peer. And you had to say something about what you really wanted. What was the most important thing to you? And he said, I want my daughters to grow up knowing God. And I thought, oh, this is a good man. And I noticed he'd been watching quite a bit over the weekend, and we had coffee with him and his mate just before we were about to leave. And as I looked back, it was like, it probably wasn't an audible thing. It might have been just a deep thing inside, I'm not sure. But it was like the Lord said, that's the man you're going to marry. Because I was pretty independent, and it took quite a lot for someone to kind of, for me to really notice. And I think the Lord just sort of gave me the heads up so I wouldn't run away.
Yeah, cool. Beautiful. What else do you want to know about that? Does anyone have something extra that they want on that? I feel like some more gossy intel on that. Yeah, go. Pete, go.
I was divorced at the time, and I'd been a solo dad for 5-6 years, and thank you.
Yeah, come on.
And I was like, because my divorce was super painful, and good things came out of it. But I remember I was actually driving. I was doing a Bible College in New Zealand course at Bethlehem, and I'd drive there to do this course. And I remember I'd met Michelle, and I thought, oh God, I don't want to be wasting my time thinking about stuff, and maybe having some hopes if this has to be for real, and she's got to be the right person for me. Otherwise, I'd rather be on my own. Yeah. And then I turned the corner, and Michelle came up at this intersection, like in her Nissan Skyline at speed.
Hold on.
Hit the brakes, and she was like right there, like going past, and it was just right in that moment, sort of thing. She didn't even notice me, but I was like, oh, I got chills, kind of thing, and
Wow.
kept going on my way. But yeah.
Were you a bit of a gill racer?
A little bit.
Really? Wow, there's a dark side to everyone.
I remember we both, before we got married, I lived at Onimana and Michelle lived in town. I remember she started working at the place that I worked before I did.
Yeah.
And winter morning, I remember following her down the Onimana hill. She was in a Skyline with the round lights on the back. That was a 3-litre one or something. Anyway, she got down the bottom of the hill and fully fishtailed around the corner straighten it up in the process of overtaking someone else on the way to work. Yeah.
It was icy.
It was November.
It's the recovery that's the main thing. It's the skill in the recovery.
Oh, I love it. So cool. You want to see me? All right, next one. So this was a cool question. So we put it up on Facebook, and a few people had chucked some questions in there. So what does your marriage give you that you wouldn't have if you were single? It's quite a deep one, so I'll give you can have a second to think about it.
Gives me my best friend. Yeah. Yeah. Someone that's good for me. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, obviously, yes to that as well. But stability, security, and just someone to share life with, the ups and the downs and all the in between.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's good.
that's beautiful. Can't see my screen. It's like there's never words for it, eh? And it's even when we had Sienna, it's like, you know, you don't know what you don't have until you're there. And then you're like, wow, like that is next level love. It's next level love. All right, what's one moment in your life when you knew without a doubt that God was real?
I think I was really blessed in being brought up in a Christian family and gave my life to the Lord at 5. So I've always walked with the Lord and just knowing that He's there. But I think I had a couple of highlights where it was like a tangible thing, kind of miraculous thing where, and funny enough, both of them involved cars. I was honing along to work one day. I was working at a law firm, and there was this really good straight coming up, and I knew it was a good place to overtake if you wanted to. And there was a bridge that you went over, but just as I was about to overtake the person in front of me, they pulled out to overtake the one in front of them. And there was literally no room for 3 of us on that bridge, but we all got through unscathed. And I was working at the church, and I just got there, and everyone said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I should be dead, but I'm not, and I don't quite know how it's happened, that I'm still alive." But I was just so grateful and so thankful. It should have gone absolutely pear-shaped. I don't know. Yeah, it was just God thing. And then I was in a car accident. I was coming up to another bridge, a causeway between Tauranga and the Mount. Yeah, and just as I was coming up to the traffic, it all suddenly stopped, and it had been raining. So, of course, I still had the most speed. You put your brakes on and you try to take it off and put them back on again, so you don't do a huge skid, but still hit the person in front of me at low speed. It kind of slowed down enough, but then there were still people coming up behind me. And so I thought, okay, I'm all right. That wasn't too bad. Yes, we've smashed up some cars a bit, but the Lord just said to me, "Do not open your door," because I was about to get out. And then I got hit twice from behind, much more impactful. And if I had opened my door and put my leg out, I would have had my leg taken off probably. So, yeah, it's just a couple of little miracle things where the Lord just kind of saved my life.
Wow. What about you, Pete?
I think, when I first came to the Lord in my bedroom, I was 27, and I was at a real low place. I was after being divorced, and I had my 2 daughters, and I'd spoken to my next door neighbours, Jill and John, and they were real different but really cool Christian couple, and they'd talked to me for a bit, and I hadn't made any commitment, and I remember they'd given me this little book, which was like a book from the 70s or the 80s. It was called First Aid for a Wounded Marriage. And I can't really remember the full sort of contents of the book, but there was a prayer in there, and I remember praying the words in the prayer, which was just a line, Lord, I am your child. And I prayed that and just had this presence in the room, in the corner of my bedroom, and just this real sense of like heat and power, and I was just like fully overwhelmed for kind of half the night sort of thing. And I was not expecting it. I was just blindsided, really. I'd had a knowledge of God in my head. I knew he was real. I was brought up in the Catholic Church. I think I always believed, but I'd never experienced the touch from the Lord before. So that was when, it was the most real sort of,
Wow. It's beautiful. And like, so before you had that, like, what was your life kind of like before you came to Jesus?
It was, I'd just come through that, was going through that sort of separation, divorce thing. So I had my daughters. My life had been, I was pretty much a bogan.
Yeah.
I was into heavy metal and fishing, and I had bits and pieces of painting and that sort of stuff. You know, and my life was pretty easy. And I had this family with my wife and my two daughters who are now 35 and 33, and we lived in a nice place, and I wasn't a particularly good husband. And anyway, circumstances, and that came to an end, and I was not really pursuing God. I almost had it parked in my mind at that point in my life that I believe God is real, but you would not know it if you knew my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I really kind of needed him that I started to seek more.
Yeah, wow.
But that whole experience was, just quite, just really surprising and really good though. That was awesome.
And have you, like, since then, so you had like that really powerful encounter.
Yep.
Like, since then, have you felt like you've had more of that kind of thing?
I've had encounters. Yeah, I've had encounters of the Holy Spirit, but nothing quite like that.
Yeah.
But I think God knew that I needed that.
Yes.
Because I was I did a lot of drugs and stuff in my youth.
Yeah.
I was very devoted to taking drugs and alcohol from the ages of about. I was
Devoted. Yeah.
sort of 13 through to sort of 21 when I had my daughter. That's what I did.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And so I just had this quite intense supernatural experience.
Wow. And when you had the supernatural experience, like, from there, did you stop taking drugs and stuff, or was that like a journey and a process?
I was 27 then. I pretty much stopped taking drugs when I was about 22, 23, when when we had kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
I still took a bit of acid. I was quite fond of that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Whew, that's heavy stuff.
special occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not promoting that at all. But yeah.
So my next question was, what season in your life has grown your faith the most? That might tie into that part, or
I'm going to probably say since 2021,
wow.
probably.
Yeah.
The whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle got really ill. Michelle got really ill from taking her first jab.
Yeah.
And I became a lot more reliant on God, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. And the move too. I think just having that change and feeling like I don't think I've acted on God's prompting much, and maybe not as much as I could in my life. But I think this was fairly clear to us to do it, and it's been real challenging. Moving towns and losing income, and just kind of a slog that I never thought that I would do again from when I first started working.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of a wilderness season, when everything like that gets cut off. You've moved, so you're making new friends.
Yeah.
You've got to like connect with different new people, right? And then
Yeah.
you've got a whole new, like, you because you weren't working, you had to literally rely on God basically for finance. And
Yeah.
for real estate, you've got to literally start from the ground up if you move to a different location.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's massive.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a challenge, a really challenging couple of years, but it's been good though too.
Yeah, cool.
It's made us kind of lean on each other and lean on God and meet new people,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So yeah.
So good. All right, Michelle. Let's go. How are we going for time? We're all right? A little bit longer? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. What's a funny or awkward moment in ministry you can laugh about now?
Yeah, I was thinking about that one a little bit. I think probably the most embarrassing one was I was preaching in church one morning, and you know, as a woman, you've got to be pretty careful about what you wear. You don't want things getting too short, or things being too low, or too tight, all that sort of thing. And we're in quite a traditional church, and there were a few of the older ladies there that were always kept a real eye on you, you know, and they were just kind of almost looking for you to stuff up. So they
Definitely
could tell you all
experienced
about
that. Yeah.
it. Yes.
It's good.
Anyway,
Who else has experienced that? Yeah, a few of us. Yeah, good. Yeah.
I had preached, and I think what was worse at that time, I was actually leading the church between ministers. So yeah, everyone was watching everything I did.
Wow. Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys didn't even like having a female minister at the time either. So you know, they did vote me in, but it was only just. Yeah.
Just made the cut.
Just made the cut. Anyway, I'd preached, done everything I needed to do. I thought, yeah, I did. That was all good. Went well. And then one of the people that like to tell me those things came up to me and said, "Did you realise when you were standing where you were, there was a window behind you, full sun coming in, and your skirt was completely see-through the whole time?" And so she said, "We could see the whole outline of everything." And I thought, well, thanks for that.
They didn't even get you down. Oh, it's like sad. I don't know if that's funny. I feel like it's sad at the same time.
You look good, babe. You
Yeah.
look good.
Come on, Pete. What about you, Pete? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
Pete
my
voted you in.
two things. Where we were at Whangamata, they had the Beach Hop Festival. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's a big rock and roll car festival, that sort of thing. And our church would do a beach hop service. So we would we'd have dancers come in, and we would sing like gospel songs, or change the words to song. Some of it was kind of cheesy, but some of it was quite good. And then this one year, someone got me an Elvis, like a Vegas jumpsuit.
This is
Like
Elvis thing.
the white one, like. But unfortunately, didn't fit too good. It was quite short. Kind of, and so it was like I'm trying to sing Elvis songs, and this thing's trying to sort of bisect me. At the same time, it was, yeah. I saw the photos after; it wasn't a good look. But
The songs are a bit like
He had lots of ladies run up to him afterwards wanting to dance with Elvis.
Yeah.
yeah,
Cute.
it
All
was
right.
awkward.
If you could teleport anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and who would you take?
Italy with Pete, probably the Amalfi Coast, because
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there and I'd love to share that with him.
Oh, cute. What about you, Pete? Might be somewhere
I'd go
totally
with
different.
her.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's skip those ones. Okay, if you could tell your younger self one thing about walking with Jesus, what would it be?
Probably to chill out, to remain open, remain flexible. Don't get too caught up in stuff that you think should be done a certain way or whatever.
Good advice, yeah.
Yeah. Just stay away from that controlling thing. Let God take charge. And I probably didn't feel like I strived a lot, but there was that element in some of the churches I was in. The expectations were high. You had to do this, you had to be at that meeting, do this, do that. And your ministry had to show success, all that sort of thing. So now I'd think, well, yeah, I wouldn't even worry about what other people think. It's just like it's me and God, and if He's okay with what I'm doing, that's all that matters.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
That's really good. What about you, Pete?
My younger self.
Yeah.
Don't wait. You know, if you hear God, I remember hearing from God when I was a teenager. I remember being in Queen Street in Auckland, and we were just out doing stuff. And I remember these group of young people came over to us, and we were pretty wasted. But I remember these lovely girls and a couple of dudes that I don't know whether they're from some ministry, and they talked to us, and I could feel like the presence of God and what they were saying, and then just who they were. And they said, "Hey, come with us. We're going to this camp, and there's going to be food and drink and stuff." And I remember thinking, there's something really tangibly good here. But I kind of went the other way, sort of thing, you know. And that's not our. I mean, God's God, and my story is my story. But I think just those opportunities that God gives you, if you're a young person, grab them, you know, and
fight that hesitation. I've got 3 more questions, and then we'll wind up. So, how do you help your teens, kids, in their relationship with God and life?
Yeah, I think I was really blessed with a dad that had open conversations with us. He was a believer. He had been brought up in the Brethren church, but had come out of that and trying to figure it all out for himself. Outside of that, then we'd ended up in a church that was just a bunch of Christians together in the back of a church on couches, which is cool. We even sang Bar Bar Black Sheep because a kid asked for it, so it was that flexible. And then it became an Elam church and all of this. So he was figuring stuff out all the way, and he'd always talk to us about it, even when we had pastors that were saying things that maybe he didn't agree with, or might have had a run-in with someone, but it was always open in our home. And so I think that's something that we've always done with our kids. Obviously there's some things you don't discuss, but I think getting them to think for themselves, for them to ask questions, and the importance of them having a relationship with Jesus themselves. Not what we believe, not because we go to church, nothing to do with religion or how much you spend time with God or read the Bible, anything like that. But it's more about you've got to figure it out for yourself. And if you've got questions, don't be afraid to ask them. And I just had a beautiful time with Emily a couple of times this week, actually, where she would come to me, where she'd been at other things and heard other speakers. She'd say, "Mum, this didn't quite sit right with me." And I'd say, "Oh, what was that?" Then she'd tell me, and then we'd talk about it. And I could ask her more questions. But it was really good just to see her brain figuring it all out.
Yeah, cool.
And she'd pray about it too. And obviously that, you know, for them to really build a relationship with God themselves. And so there's nothing that's kind of blessed me more than seeing Emily out there. It might be at night, out on the deck, because she loves her little view over the city lights if it's at night or at sunset time. And she's there reading the Word and writing in her journal and just praying. She actually broke down in tears and compassion yesterday over someone that she had respected and looked up to in the Christian scene, someone that had input it into her life, and she felt like she had questions about where they're at now, and she could see things changing and them not being as strong in their Christian walk, and she was just crying on the couch with compassion. But so I think encouraging them to think for themselves and to just really find God for them.
So good. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Pete, to that?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I can. How do you help your teens in their relationship with God?
I think just being real at the end of the day, not sort of sugarcoating stuff. And I mean, to be honest, Emily she's more spiritually disciplined than I am.
Wow.
I would admit that. And
So good.
but they're both. I'm really just encouraged because they're both really curious in the Lord, if you know what I mean. They both sort of they weigh things and measure things, but they're not. I think they've both got their own relationships. I'm really thankful for. My 2 older daughters don't.
Yeah.
So that's still something that we're praying about.
Yeah, it's just creating like a safe environment for people to be able to open up, right? And it doesn't matter if you fall or trip over or fail or anything like that. It's like just a safe place to land and be able to ask questions and have that. Yeah, it's really good. So this is a David Harris question. Wow, you made it. Made it on the thing. From your experience, what's your measure of a healthy church? And maybe you can give us a little bit of intel of where you've come from, maybe from leadership in other churches.
I was I've only ever been in one other church.
Yeah.
I was in Whangamata Baptist Church because I lived in Whangamata, and I was there from 1996 until 2-3 years ago when we
Oh,
moved.
wow. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I came to faith kind of and went to that church and kind of grew in my faith in that church. And I got involved in worship, and I was an elder for a while. And I do remember I nearly left on the second week because we went to, I was just starting to get to know a couple of people, and then they had this thing called an AGM.
Yep.
And so I said, Somebody, you should go to the AGM.
Lots of meetings.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I'll go to that. And all of this, suddenly there's people standing up saying, I'll second that, and no, and it was like, at the end of it, we had no pastor.
Wow. Wowzers.
There was
Okay.
voting, and there was like, we were left with, sort of, neither of them got, we had two pastors, and neither of them got enough votes to be the pastor. And I was thinking, what the heck? What have I got myself into here, So I just really don't like legalism in church. And I think man puts a lot of things in the way of God doing his thing amongst the people.
Yeah.
So it's for a healthy church, just honesty. Honesty will lead to unity, and unity is really precious.
It
you
is.
know,
Yeah.
and so if you get to know pastors, leaders, get to know each other, you won't be in a little group over here, kind of like talking about them and that sort of stuff. Just openness and honestness and
Love that.
and communication, and that's biblical too. If you've got a problem with someone, talk to them about it.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
take a brother. Sort things out, because things will grow. In terms of
Yeah.
problems. But a healthy church is an awesome thing too, isn't it? I mean, we've had our church was it had a terrible split.
Yeah. Okay.
That
yeah.
was really, really horrible and really, really hard, and I didn't think it could ever happen.
Wow. Yeah.
But we had other times where it was a good functioning church was people operating in their gifts, like worship, people that, don't really want to talk and stuff, they want to do jobs. They want to serve in the kitchen or mow the lawns or, help people shift house. When I first became a Christian, I think I helped like 4 people shift house in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Our church was awesome at helping people move.
Just were practical helps,
Yeah,
sort
practical
of thing.
help.
Made
That's
a
something
big
you
difference.
guys are really good at is practical help.
Yeah.
100%. Do you want to
yeah.
add something too?
Yeah, I've had quite a few different experiences in church life. But I was actually, sadly, in 3 churches where I was in leadership or good friends with people that actually had affairs, whether it was pastors or top leadership. And so I saw the fallout of that in a number of different churches. One of them, the elders all just blew apart. They never got involved in church again. So I do remember thinking, well, if I'm ever in that position again, I don't want to end up like that. I don't want those bad experiences to put me off serving in a church or still loving God and following God. And then it happened twice more.
Wowzers, yeah.
And have had to be involved in some pretty hard parts of that in leadership. So we've seen the really unhealthy stuff, but we've also, in between all that, seen good stuff. But yeah, like Pete said, it's the practical. How does the church actually love each other? I mean, you can have the greatest programs, you can have the greatest events, and everyone's racing to this, that, and the other thing, getting fed all this great stuff. But if you're not putting it into practice on a daily level of really loving people and showing that love, it doesn't. The rest of it doesn't really mean much. It's just knowledge.
Yeah.
It's just head knowledge. And we can get very fat with knowledge and taking all the stuff with
That's right.
the podcasts and the posts everywhere in social media. There's so much information we can take on. And I was just reading in scripture this morning, my favourite scripture, but then it went further on and it said, I think it was Paul was saying to the church, put into practice what you have learned. So I think it is about getting practical. in love and deed, and not always just looking to serve in the area you're passionate about. Sometimes just serve where it's probably your least favourite thing as well. So that's more self-sacrifice. It's easy to serve the thing you're passionate about.
That's right.
And just that it just comes back to the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul and mind, and love others
Yeah.
as he loved you, and having fun times together, like church camp and stuff. It doesn't always have to be an over-spiritual thing. But,
And I think also, like, just to add to that, there's that sometimes when we do serve in places that, ideally we want to serve in places that, we naturally probably go to, but then sometimes there's a need, and it's going, well, we're a family, so let's jump in and help. And when we jump in and help, that's probably the place you're going to grow the most. And if you're actually willing to grow, for us, even in leadership and stuff, it's just like, man, if you see someone just with that little, just want to grow, even if they're growing a smidgen, but they're growing, it's so amazing. That is like, honestly, it's one of the most rewarding things ever to see. And I think too, just to add to that with like we're actually a highly prophetic church, and we move really like with the Spirit, and we're always kind of checking in and going, well, what's going on, Lord? Like, what's happening here? And then sometimes there's seasons where we're just not hearing as much, and we're just not hearing the same. And it's that is the season where God's going, are you going to put that into practice? Are you going to walk that out now? Because we're not in that space of download continuously. We're in a space of walking it out. So that's super cool. I think. Oh yeah,
I just wanted to say just a little bit more too, and I think I've often seen Aspire maybe as a place because of its centrality and being in the city as a place for broken people to come and be made whole again, and so that's where the love thing's really important. And even we were just talking to Hannah this morning. It's just stuff we had already been mulling over about real discipleship. When people get saved, they actually need somewhere to belong. They need to find their purpose, and they need to be encouraged in that, and have people that will mentor them or walk with them on that daily thing too. Yeah, you're in for the long haul. Yeah, with people.
Yeah, it's walking it out. Well, thank you. That was amazing. So cool to find out some good subjects and go through a few things. Not bad for our first one, eh? So, yeah.
I heard there's a tradition where the people on the couch get to choose the next ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, we can start there. Why not? I love it. Awesome. Well, I think we just finish up there and go. Let's rather than ministry, unless you want some ministry time or you really need prayer. I would love to pray for you, obviously. But if not, go and get to know someone. Ask them some questions, and let's get really good at loving each other. So as more people come in, and there are ones that are broken coming in, we actually can. We know how to love. Do you know? Yeah. All right. And we'll see you next week for Tawhiri. Yeah. Amen. Cool.